the United Nations and for European states, you are a framework. A framework that can organize that especially the larger states accept their responsibility, and only what these international institutions can do. If we speak about some problems and some inefficiencies of the UN, that's a responsibility of larger states, especially I would say, two main members of the Security Council, USA and China, have the main responsibility for the inefficiency of the United Nations. That's a reality. And both US and China have the responsibility for that. Cannot have the responsibility because it is not in the Security Council. Germany is not such a large state. Let us notice, I am in favor of a seat of the EU in the Security Council. So I think that is the main question. What the EU can do is to show other regions that it is possible that you can step by step bring together former, more or less proud and independent state now without real power. That can be example, for example, for Africa, that the EU could do. And I would say maybe the EU has learned that you only trust in your own national power, you will lose it. That the European states have learned, and so there could be a better basis maybe to cooperate with India, maybe also with China to solve some problems, especially also the problem in Sudan, because without a cooperation between EU and Sudan, economic interest in Sudan, this problem will not be resolved.
Thank you very much. Distinguished delegate, please ask your next question.
Distinguished guests, as an ambassador of the Sudan to the Economic and Social Council, I would like to address my question to Professor Messner. And it is, despite modern technologies, developing countries are still dependent on classic development models. So while the Sudan is striving for development in order to meet the most basic needs of our people, we are dependent on fossil fuels and are thereby increasingly contributing to climate change. So while we are struggling for development and wealth, we are at the same time diminishing our chance to actually achieving it by placing the burden of climate and environmental change on our people. The simple question now is, what will our way be out of there? Yeah, I didn't say the answer.
That was a simple question.
Nothing about the answer.
You have been the ambassador of Sudan, so we have two of Sudan here. Okay. Okay. Only to understand whom I have to talk. Okay. Now, my answer would be that there are two major economic issues globally, and this is relevant for the global economy and global development, and so Sudan and similar countries. And the first major challenge for global development is that we need to invent or reinvent the global economy as a low-carbon economy. And this would be helpful for the global development, the global economy, for all of us, because we would avoid climate change. And this is a precondition for all developing countries that depend on resources, because climate change is affecting resources and destroying resources. And the second part of the answer is that the second huge challenge in terms of economic development in resource-based countries and many poor countries, and Sudan too, is invest heavily in agricultural development. And we forgot that during the last decades, and we see now that soil is a scarce resource. And we need to invest in agricultural development in terms of investments in agriculture as an industry and in capacities of poor people. This is your issue. Education, capacity building, investing in people.
Thank you very much. So, the next honorable delegate, please.
To ask a question in character, I'm representing South Korea in the GA, and my question goes to Dr. Walker. In your key speech, you said that the global cooperation can reduce poverty. You noticed that the North profits from the South. And Dr. Zoppel said during his discussion about the financial crisis that the responsibility lies with the more developed countries. Now my question is, do you think that the responsibility in this case also lies with the more developed countries? And have you observed an honest interest of these countries to change the situation? And do you think that this is even possible? With poverty, you know.
Well, thank you, delegate from South Korea. You, as a country, have a very impressive experience in poverty reduction and developing in a historically very, very short time from a developing country to one of the leading, developed countries in the world. So, congratulations, and on that background, I think there is not a really deep-based, selfish interest in the countries in the north in poverty reduction. I was talking in my speech about the differences between poverty and the other global challenges, because these other global challenges have an initial impact on the north, and I based my hope on changes and solutions because of this impact, because of a very selfish decision of the majority of countries in the north that they will tackle a problem which will affect themselves in the immediate future. Therefore, my hope that countries in the north will really move things forward in the poverty question I'm not that as optimistic as in the topic of climate change.
Thank you very much. The last question comes from the honorable delegate from Russia.
Привет. I'm representing the Russian Federation, and my question goes to Dr. Zoppel. Sir, you mentioned many times global government. So the Russian Federation would like to understand a little bit more this term by means of thinking or trying to understand if it's going to be a global government where people are going to elect one man of this earth as a president of the earth or something like that. Because our concerns are how are we going to manage that, taking into account national interests that exist all over the world and again somehow stop any global initiative. And the example is there, like the Kyoto process. Thank you very much. Спасибо.